I'm Senator Cameron Bartolotta, and welcome to Focus on the 46th. And today, we're cooking up something extra special for you, so be sure to come back. We are here at the Washington County Food Bank Thrift Store, and we're here with the president of the Washington County Food Bank, Peg Wilson, and she's going to tell us all about this incredible synergistic partnership you have between what we're standing in and what we're going to do in just a little bit. So Peg, where are we? We're in the thrift store, and tell me a little bit about what happens here.
You're in the thrift store, and we have had very good people donating to us everything that they have that they don't no longer need. They always say somebody else's garbage is our treasure.
Right.
And what we sell, we are able to maybe buy gasoline, put in the trucks, or buy food.
Yeah.
Some people don't realize it's not the food that operates. We need other expenses such to pay.
Sure.
And this thrift store has been very well successful because the trouble with anybody that believes in a food bank knows we're all about donations.
Yes.
And people have been very good. The neighbors, old friends, people wanted to clean out their house. Now they're downsizing, a lot of people. We've had people that have donated us things from their family members who have passed away, which is sad, but also thinking that they think enough of us to give their stuff to us where we can sell it.
Right, it has a new life.
Make money.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's all about the food bank, and we have everything here for anyone that wants anything, and every day we get different donations.
Yeah,
I
so
couldn't tell you.
So people come here to donate?
Yes.
Is this where they bring all of their items? And there's clothing, and there's furniture, and there's jewelry, and just about
We have
anything.
everything. We have
anything in the world here.
We have evening gowns.
Wow.
And
Right.
we gave a lot of those out for the prom and stuff.
You gave them out for the prom.
People come in
They
and
came and
bought 'em,
purchased.
And,
That's wonderful.
I know one
Prom
woman
dresses.
that told me she got it for her daughter, which actually said she wouldn't have been able to afford it.
Oh,
And
that's
her
wonderful.
daughter was able to go to the prom. It's little things that come back to make you happy.
Oh, that is wonderful.
But I said this thrift store has brought us so much.
Right. So with the
And
proceeds that you make here in the thrift store,
Yes, helps
you're-
us with our expenses.
Sure,
with the
pays,
food
keeps
bank.
the lights on.
Right.
And
The
it,
gas bill, the water, whatever.
Sure. Yeah. And
But as I
buys
said,
more
there's
food
so
that you
much
need.
more, which I found out after I volunteered, and you don't realize how much things that are needed. I mean, you can have all the food you can get, but if you don't have a truck and the gasoline
are you
to
gonna get
deliver it, you know, how's the people want to get it?
Well, I want to take a look and see at some of the different things that you have here.
Yes.
There's a whole grocery section over
I
here.
would like to show you down here.
Yeah. So where do the groceries come from? It looks like they're
Also donations.
Okay.
We have a couple places that donate to us.
okay.
To see
Like
And,
what?
It's very nice.
Well, all this stuff is donated.
Right.
We don't buy anything.
Right.
What anybody wants to donate to us, we gladly, take it.
It's
Now,
wonderful. Toys and all kinds of
yes.
things.
And here, if you're going to have a baby shower,
Oh wow.
bridal shower,
That's wonderful.
and we have everything.
yeah.
You name it, and you bet you'll find it in here.
And if you don't have it this week, you'll probably have it next week.
Well, yes,
So
because
things
you could
change
never,
all the time.
You could never say what
Yeah.
you really
Yeah.
want. And
Yeah.
we have light bulbs.
Ah, okay, great. So
And
all
I-
kinds of house. Oh my goodness,
And
furnace
over here,
filters.
You got your
Yeah.
sweets,
Okay, right.
and you can make yourself. We got these donated.
Fantastic. So, Peg, tell me what this is up here.
That is for that truck that I'm trying to buy.
Oh.
The refrigerator truck.
Okay, tell us about that. You're looking for a refrigerator truck to
Yes.
buy for the
so
food bank.
we can have our food, in refrigerators.
Yes, right.
And I did pass up, which I should have noted, over on the other wall, we have a quilt that was donated to us by the Quilters Club.
Oh my goodness,
And
we'll
I
take
did
a
want to
great
show you
Oh,
that.
it's beautiful. We'll definitely take a good look at the quilt.
Some
Sure.
woman made that and donated
Oh, my
two to
goodness.
us.
Yeah.
One to keep here, and the other one we're going to raffle it off at the Taste of Washington.
There we go.
At the Meadows.
There we go. Wonderful.
But
yeah,
then you
but
have all-
again, it's just for viewers to see. Right here,
We
this
need
is
money.
The food bank is taking donations so that they can purchase a refrigerator truck so that they can deliver foods and things
Well, we
and
have
pick
to have
up
something
things.
to deliver the food or go pick it up if
Yeah.
someone wants to give us.
So we're gonna give you the website that you can donate.
But,
in a little bit.
Like I said, this is coffee filters.
All
You got
kinds
your
of
napkins.
things.
If you want to have a party.
Wow.
This is better than using than using your stuff and you throw it
Yeah.
away.
I
And
mean,
this
I'm
stuff
looking
is
at things that are
healthy.
brand new.
Yes, they're all brand new.
This is all brand new things.
Yes.
So
The
a lot of people
donate.
don't understand.
Now back here is stuff. Now here is
Yeah.
stuff that people have donated to us.
Sure.
And you can see there's such a combination of everything.
You can find just about anything here
Yes.
if you look hard enough. Peg, thank you very much for giving us a tour of the thrift store. But as we said before, a lot of the money that comes from the thrift store helps to purchase the food in the food bank, and each box that someone comes to get has certain items in there. And you guys offer classes, I hear,
Yes.
for cooking classes. So you have a chef that comes in and offers cooking classes for people.
Yes, we
and-
do.
Well,
Well,
yeah, that's what we're going to enjoy in just a little
But
bit.
what we're doing now is trying to get more classes going. And anybody that wants to donate,
Yeah.
you know, that's a big thing.
That's
To
huge.
keep the stuff coming in.
And that's how you operate, and that's how you
we
provide
operate.
things for the
And
clients that
it's
are here.
helped- It helps with everything. We've grown from a little place into something we can be proud of.
That's wonderful. Again,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks.
you so much for you coming.
Yeah.
And be
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
God bless.
Thanks, Peg. We're here with Jody Getz, and as we heard, the thrift shop here helps support a lot of the different things that you do right here at the food pantry. So this is something really, really special. And tell us your title.
I'm director of the Healthy Habits Training Center.
Okay, so that actually encompasses quite a lot of different things.
It sure does.
So one of the things we're going to experience today is a little cooking class that you provide. Can you tell me more about that? How often do you have it, and how do people get involved in coming to experience that?
Sure. Once a month, on the second Tuesday of every month, we have Frank Santilli come from Bisteca Steakhouse at the Meadows Casino, and he does a free class once a month, and he does a demonstration a lot like you're going to see here. We have a great group of people that come every month for that, and we could sit and eat lunch after
always
he
nice. Yeah.
demonstrates.
Yeah.
And then also along with that, I like to have a few classes supporting that as different things. I have some people come that aren't chefs, they just like to cook. So they'll come and demonstrate what they make, whether it's something very simple, something elaborate. The one gentleman who is our thrift store manager's husband, he came and cooked a meal and dessert and a side dish. It was fabulous.
That's great.
Another class that I had with the cooking is what do I do with blank? And we used butternut squash and kale and some of the oddball things that people get and they go, what do I do with this? It's very fun to see the creative minds of the chef take a can of spinach that you may not think is very appetizing and turn it into a fabulous meal.
Well, again, along with the classes and the cooking training and things, you focus on nutrition.
Yes.
And on really making your dollar go a long way. And when people come, when the clients come and they pick up what may be in their box right here at the food pantry, like you said, sometimes they're like mystery vegetables
Yes.
or mystery something.
Yes.
And instead of having those items go bad in their fridge, or maybe a can of something they've never worked with before, they can come here and for free learn just how to incorporate those things right into their family's diet.
Right.
And along the lines of fresh produce and things, you are doing something amazing right here at the food pantry. How many acres do you have in this facility?
We have 22 acres surrounding the building.
Okay.
And we would like to farm all of that. Right now we have in place 14 out of our 32 raised beds that we want to have.
Wow, you've got some great
And
pictures here too. Can you?
Yes, this gives you the idea of where we want to go. This is about a 10-year plan. You can see our buildings here.
Yep.
And when you're staring at the building, it would be on the right side, though on the board it's on the left, is where our raised beds are going to be. And like I said, we have 14 out of the 32 right now. You'll see some of those foods that we were able to pick out of the gardens used today in the meal that Chad's going to cook for us.
Yeah.
And we also have in place our orchard, which is on the other side of our property. These are not the actual pictures we have, but We have 70 fruit trees right now planted.
Wow, really?
Everything from peaches to cherries, apples, pluots and apricots.
Well, that's something you're going to have
Yes.
to teach me what that's all about, a pluot.
Right,
Okay,
pluot
that's
is
something
a,
new.
is a combination between a plum and an apricot, and I never heard of it
Ooh.
either until we planted the trees.
That sounds
so.
pretty delicious. But
Yes.
these are all plans in the works here. This is
our
you guys
dream.
are really forward thinking,
Yes.
because to actually provide really good healthy food for a community that really desperately needs it. It's not just canned things or dry, beans and rice and stuff. You really want to bring the people into what you have here under roof and let them participate and volunteer in the gardens.
Yes.
Teach their kids that you can eat from the earth.
Right.
And I love this idea too. This is something that that my Senate office actually was able to help facilitate. Trinity School has a program where they use these
Shipping containers,
shipping
right.
containers, and inside them they're putting these vertical aquaponic growing facility. They have lights and everything in there, and it's amazing. You can grow, I think, 2 acres or so of a produce.
Yes.
Right inside one of these box containers.
That does not take very much space other than
Right.
like 40 by 10, I think they are.
Yeah. So that was the local high school, through their program, is helping provide lettuces and things to the food bank. So you're getting all of those high schoolers and stuff involved too. I think it's a
Right.
great partnership.
Yes. Very much
Well,
so.
we're going to enjoy a cooking demonstration that we're putting on today. It's going to be a lot of fun because back in the day I actually had a cooking show that I directed. I wasn't in it, but really enjoyed that a lot. So it's a lot of fun to get the local folks to come down and sit and enjoy a little demonstration, ask questions, and learn a whole lot.
Exactly.
And I'm thrilled to learn a lot about what you do here.
Thank you so
for what
much.
you're doing. Really appreciate it. Here we are in the kitchen portion of the food pantry, the food bank, and I wanted to introduce to you Chad, who is our guest chef of the day, and he's going to be sharing with us some great recipes from some of the items that the clients who come to the food pantry get to pick up and learn a little bit about what's going on. So tell me, and you work with?
I work at Bellicera in
Okay.
Canonsburg, and I am the sous chef there. And today I'm going to be working with the senator on teaching you all how to cook a lovely meal with some of the bounty that the garden here at the Washington County Food Bank has provided to us.
Wonderful. And some of the things that we have to work with today are
Well, we have some beautiful carrots that just came out of the garden today.
dirt and all. We did
Dirt
not
and
put the
all.
dirt on
We're
there.
gonna get
This
to
is
that part.
authentic right out of the garden.
Some fresh celery.
Yep.
Some fresh local zucchini and summer squash. And we have a nice, beautiful Anaheim pepper that just came from the garden.
Nice.
As well as some garlic and some onions from the garden as well.
Terrific.
And also, we'll be working with some fresh herbs from the garden today.
Great. So can you tell us some of the herbs that we have here? We've got a little.
Certainly, we have some rosemary. Go ahead and take a little taste. It's delicious.
Oh yeah. There's nothing
I
like the
love
smell
this
of
stuff.
fresh rosemary. It's phenomenal. Yes.
And we have some fresh lemon thyme,
Yep. Wonderful.
some fresh parsley,
There's some Italian flat leaf parsley.
as well as fresh purple and green basil.
See, some of you might have thought that was a little dead leaf. No, this is purple basil. So there's all different sort of flavors that you can use with your herbs. So there's some fresh, wonderful things out of the garden. And what are some of the things that we're going to be working with today?
So we're going to be working with basically everything that we've spoken about so far, as well as some pasta.
Okay, everybody has pasta in the pantry, right? That's easy to get, right?
And we're going to focus on chicken breast for our protein.
Okay, great, great. So, go
Okay,
ahead.
so first we're going to go and cook off our chicken breast.
Okay, so while you're doing that, I'm going to wash the vegetables. Is that all right?
That sounds like a plan,
Okay, we'll
Senator.
do that.
Thank you.
Teamwork, teamwork.
We always
All right.
have to make sure that we season our food. Because if we don't season our food, then you don't taste the love in the food. So we're going to start with a little salt and pepper on one side. And I've got my pan preheated here. I'm using cast iron pan. I love using cast iron because you get a nice, beautiful sear on your meat when you use
Who has
cast
cast iron pans? Does anybody have cast iron pan? Don't you love them? They're phenomenal. Really great.
So we're going to put a little bit of olive oil in the pan, a hot pan, and a little fat. Now, normally some people.
What'd you call me? I'm sorry.
Oh, wow. Normally, some people would trim a lot of the excess fat off their chicken. Chicken's very lean already. I prefer to keep some of the fat on because we're gonna make a sauce out of our pan drippings here. And fat is flavor. So I'm gonna put the chicken in the pan, and then I'm generously gonna season the other side of the chicken. And that's going to sit there until we get a nice golden brown sear on one side. Then we're going to flip it and put it in the oven.
So am I right that whenever you're trying to cook something in a hot pan, you need to hear your food cooking?
Yes, yes. We don't just cook we don't cook with one sense. We use all of our senses. We use our taste, our sight, our hearing, and smell.
So if you put it into a pan and you don't hear anything, it's just basically laying there sucking up the grease and the oil that you put in the pan. So you want to hear it.
Certainly. All right. Are our veggies ready?
I think so.
All right.
I can peel these and dice these, or
yes.
what do you want me to do with them?
So we're going to go ahead, and if you could just cut the top off so they're easier to manage. And I have a peeler here for you. And go ahead and peel the carrots.
Okay. Am I in the wrong spot?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You can be wherever you want.
I float around the kitchen all the time. I never.
Just make sure you stay behind when you go walking behind me. That's very important. Safety first in the kitchen. I'm going to get this ready. This beautiful tool is called a mandolin.
Yep.
It's also known as a knuckle slicer.
Yeah.
So you have to be very careful with that.
Yes. You don't want added protein in the way of knuckles in your food. That's really gross.
And while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and clean this onion. I'm going to get this peeled. Just going to take off a little bit of everything.
So you have a trick for peeling onions so people don't cry?
Well, there's a lot of old wives' tales about that, but one I've found that's most effective is to keep them in the refrigerator.
Oh.
So when they are cold, they're not going to release as much of the sulfur, which is really what's going to
Great tip.
make you cry, as well as breathing through your mouth and not through your nose. That's another small trick, yeah.
That's a good idea.
So we're just going to take the core out of this.
And it's a lot harder to try to slice up these itty bitty little baby ones, but you know what? These came right out of the garden.
They're beautiful. And they smell delicious. So we're just going to go ahead and give a nice rough slice on these. If we tried to do a small dice on these tiny onions, we'd end up with some of our fingers in the dish, and we don't want that, right?
No. Now, speaking of being safe in the kitchen,
Yes.
I know that you already prepared the chicken breasts prior to us starting here.
Correct.
Some things that they talk about here at the food pantry is how to safely handle food.
Yes.
Because the worst thing you want to do is just cross-contaminate chicken that you've cut on a cutting board. So share with us some of the food safety tips that you'd like to share.
Well, when you're handling chicken, it's best to wear gloves if possible, if you have them on hand. If not, you want to make sure you're dealing with a clean surface, clean hands. And then once you're done handling the chicken and you start cooking the chicken, it's best to wash your hands and thoroughly clean your cutting board and your entire working area with hot soapy water. So as to avoid cross-contamination.
Yeah.
Now, as far as cooking the chicken, you want to make sure you cook it to an internal temperature of about 165 degrees. And that's going to make sure that it's thoroughly cooked and no one's going to get sick.
So a lot of people don't really know what 165 degrees looks like when you're looking at the chicken, so probably the best thing to do is get one of those real cheap little food thermometer things. And as a matter of fact, I think I might have seen some out here at the thrift store where you can get them super, super cheap. So always go with that.
So I can hear that my chicken is cooking and it's getting very close. As I come over, it's starting to get that golden brown color, which is just what we want. So we're going to turn that. And then now we're going to put it in the oven to finish.
There we go.
And this is going to allow it to cook nice and evenly throughout.
So that's another great plus for the cast iron skillet, is that you can take it off the heat and put it right into the oven.
And it maintains the heat as well, so it helps to cook it evenly. You don't want it to cook too much on one side or too much on the other.
Yeah.
You end up with a dry chicken, and nobody likes dry chicken, right?
No. Moisture-free chicken is not my favorite. No.
So
What would you like me to do with the carrots and the celery here?
We're going to use our mandolin, aka the knuckle slicer,
Oh man.
and
Okay.
very carefully,
You just
you're
want
going
it
to
real
shave
thin.
them. Yes,
Okay.
we'll get them nice and thin.
Short ways, or you don't want the John and Julie
You can
ends?
do it however you want, but I like to do this for this since it's going to be a nice big mix of vegetables. You want to have a bite size for every
Okay, there we
single. Yeah, so that's perfect. So we're going to cut those thin because they generally take a while to cook, longer than your squash or your
when
onions.
you get down a little bit short, sometimes you just kind of,
There you go. But we do not
Just
like
to
to
be on the
waste
safe
food,
side.
so we can always save things like that, such as our peels,
Okay.
for stock.
Oh, really?
So you
Even
can make
the-
stock at home, even
Very
these
cool.
peels. So we
Okay,
can just
good.
set these aside. I have my onion
Awesome.
peels here, and then whatever's left from the celery, that's
Okay.
going to be our mirepoix, which is our aromatic vegetables that we're going to add to our stock, and then we can freeze that.
very cool.
All right, carrots are done.
Yes.
Now we can do a little bit of garlic,
Okay.
and that's going to add a lot of flavor to this dish.
You want that just very thinly
Very,
sliced?
very thinly sliced. You can use the mandolin,
I
or you
think
can
I'm a
do
little.
it by a knife.
I think
All
I'm.
right.
Yeah, I feel a little bit better with a knife.
I'm going to go ahead and clean this Anaheim pepper. We're just going to take a spoon and remove the seeds.
Okay, the seeds are where the heat is mostly. Am I
Mostly,
right?
yes, you are correct.
So how hot is an Anaheim pepper compared with, like, I don't know, a jalapeno or whatever?
Very, very, very mild.
Oh, good. Okay.
Very mild. So they're just going to have a little bit of added heat. And the best way, if you want to taste a pepper and see how hot it is, take a little cut from the bottom of it.
Oh, really? At the pointy end.
That's where the least amount of heat is. It's the farthest away from the seeds. So you get the flavor of the pepper without burning your mouth off.
Thank you, Mr. Science.
No
That was
problem.
pretty cool.
So we're just going to cut some rings here. It's always important to keep your fingertips in when you're cutting.
So curl them under a little bit
Curl
like that.
them under, and then
So the knife rubs against
it can
the...
seem awkward at first, but you want your
It's
knife.
a lot less awkward than that. I'm just saying.
You just let the knife run along the edge of your fingers. Use them as a guide,
Mm-hmm.
and slowly work your way down, whatever it is you're cutting.
Do you want this diced or just... I can dice this up.
Thin slivers are good for what
Okay.
we're going for here.
Okay.
Now, my chef Giuseppe, he would tell you that everybody wants a nice big bite of garlic in
Not
every
really.
bite they get. Not a lot of people don't, but everyone in Italy,
fine.
and he's from Italy, and he'll tell
Okay.
you that's
No,
the way to
agree.
eat it.
This smells amazing too, by the way. So
All right. So if you could, Senator, go ahead
Sure.
and cut that in half, and we're just going to cut little half moons out of that.
okay.
All right. And while you're
Yep.
doing that, we're going to get a pan ready. And I put a lid on my pasta water here, just so it really comes up to a boil. We're going to take some of this pasta that the Washington County Food Bank has provided us with. And first, we're going to salt our water. It's very important to salt your pasta water.
So Chad, you want me to quarter this or
Just
half?
little half moons there, Senator.
It's okay.
Just like that.
I was
Yeah,
gonna-
that's perfect.
All right, we're same
One in-
thickness as the carrots, so that it all cooks the same, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So we're going
will.
to add some pasta to our
I'm brave.
water here. And then once it goes in, you want to make sure that you stir it so it doesn't stick.
Now, some people don't salt their pasta water, which I think is a big mistake.
It really
because,
is.
Yeah, you end up with it tastes like paste.
You want to season in layers.
Yeah.
So you add a little bit of salt with every little thing that you're doing.
And in Italy, they will tell you with pasta, you salt the water so the water tastes like the ocean.
Correct, like the ocean.
So that's a good little tip.
In the Atlantic, not the Pacific.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go ahead and preheat our pan here while our pasta is cooking. This is probably gonna take about 6 to 7 minutes.
Okay.
You want it to be a little al dente, which kind of means to the tooth. It's got a little bite to it still. And the reason we're gonna do that is so it's not mushy. It has a little texture, but we're gonna finish cooking it in our pan, and it's gonna allow it to soak up all that flavor that we're gonna start building here with all these lovely vegetables.
And one thing, don't rinse your pasta after you cook it.
Never. You don't want to rinse off
Your
the
sauce
starch.
won't stick to it.
And we're also, the reason I'm not straining my pasta into a colander like a lot of people do,
Yeah.
I have a basket that I'm cooking it in so I can reserve the pasta water because I'm going to use that to help build the sauce as well.
There you go.
So let's see here. So if we could.
Want some more garlic, or are we good with the
I think
two
we're
cloves?
good with that.
Okay.
I'm going to set this
I can
here.
slice more zucchini if you want. I think we've got. I think I'll do that.
I think we're
just
good.
as reserve.
Actually,
Where's
I'm
half
doing
good?
this backwards here, Senator.
That's all right.
We're going to take
Actually, I
this
think it'll-
pan and we're going to put everything in here.
Alrighty.
Nice little pile.
Okay.
Keep everything separate.
Yep. There's that little garlic. And actually, if you have a hard time getting the smell of garlic off your hands after you cook, a little tip is to get a stainless steel knife or a big spoon or something and touch the stainless steel under running water. And that helps pull out the smell of garlic. But I kind of like it. I think I'm just going to keep it there. I like that a lot. All right, there's some carrots. So this is a really good recipe for all those folks out there, because this show will air probably in August, I'm guessing. And that's just about the time when everybody's gardens are just exploding. You just can't keep up with it. So here's a great way to take some of those zucchini that have a life of their own and make something really delicious with it.
All right, so we're going to come over here now. Now that our pan is nice and hot. First, I'm going to check on the chicken. I'm going to give it a little poke. Now, this is a chef's trick. If it springs back, that means it's getting close to cooking. But if your finger sinks into it, then you've still got some time. But I have a trusty thermometer with me. A digital one that I'm going to go ahead and insert long ways into the chicken.
You might not be able to see what he's doing. He's picking up the flat piece of chicken like this and sticking the thermometer in so that it's reading more of it instead of just sticking it shallow like that.
So we're at 155, which is a little under. So we're going to go back into the oven.
Chef, do you want me to slice up some celery or?
Yes, so that's going to be a garnish
Oh,
for this.
okay.
We're going to keep this, we're going to reserve some of the leaves.
Yep.
And we're going to keep the celery raw so it adds
Okay.
a little bit of crunch and a little more
Nice.
texture, because some of that texture is going to get lost as we're cooking the vegetables in the pan.
Okay, great. So do you want to, we'll even use some carrot top. What do you think?
Beautiful, beautiful. Waste not, want not,
That's
right?
right. Yep. Looks pretty. See, if you're plating up some kind of a dinner that you've just, made beautiful, you can just use tops of celery. You don't need to spend money on a huge bunch of parsley for decoration. Just use whatever you happen to have from the garden.
So I've added a little olive oil to a preheated pan. We're going to turn up the heat just a little bit because this temperature is going to drop once we start adding all of these vegetables. And we don't want it to drop in temperature because, as you were saying before, it's just going to soak up all of the fat and all the oil, and you're going to have a greasy texture in your mouth. So once that comes up to temperature, you want it to hit its smoke point, which means you're going to see little wisps of smoke coming out of the pan, and that's telling you that your oil is hot enough. So we're going to check our pasta here. Still not quite done, so that's good. Still have a little bit of time.
So one of the things that you're doing over there, it seems to me, is you make a lot of pasta and you don't cook it all the way. So like you said, you make another dish the next night.
Exactly.
And you throw some other things in your pan and you get it nice and hot. You can take your pasta from the fridge and maybe even plunge it in some little bit of boiling water and then mix
reheat
a
it,
whole
yes.
other dish with it.
Since you're not cooking it all the way through, it's still going to have a little bit of a shelf life to where you can utilize it in any way you want. So if you wanted to go reheat it, like the senator said, just drop it in a little bit of hot water, boiling water, and then toss it in your dish and cook it in your sauce just like we're doing. This can
It's
be
ready in
prepared
minutes.
a few days ahead of time. Save yourself some time. That
Yeah.
way it's only going to take you 10 minutes, as opposed to maybe 20 to a half an hour to make a nice dish.
Or what I even like to do with leftover pasta, just without any sauces or anything on it, it's in the fridge. You can just take it out and you toss it. I see you're going, put a little bit of, it could even be Italian salad dressing. And you toss that with some fresh vegetables, some tomatoes or whatever, and you've got a quick, healthy pasta salad.
So I've hit my smoke point here. I don't know if you can see, there's just little wisps of smoke coming out of the pan, which is the temperature that we want. So we're going to start with the carrots, because they're going to take the longest to cook. And then I'm going to add the onion, because I want that to get a little bit of caramelization. That's going to add a little bit of color and flavor to this dish. Just get everything coated in your oil. And then once again, we're going to season in layers. So we're going to add a little bit of salt to this, and a little bit of pepper as well. So once we start getting a little bit of color, we're going to start adding the rest of our veggies. So our pasta still has a little chew to it. So I'm going to take it out of the water, and I'm not going to let all the water drip off, because I want some of this in here. That starch and that salt, that's really going to help make this dish come together. So at this point, I'm going to add a little bit of garlic, just a little bit of raw garlic, just so I get some of that garlic flavor in there. I'm going to reserve some of this because we're going to make our sauce with the garlic, and that's when we're going to get a lot of the garlic flavor. So I've also brought with me a little bit of chili flake,
Ooh.
just to add a little bit of
Heat.
background heat to this. I have a little dried oregano, just add a little extra depth to it. And then now comes the fun part. Now we add butter.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So we're going to add a little butter to help coat.
And that makes it look pretty too.
It helps it give a nice glossy
Nice
shine
shine.
to it. People eat with their eyes before they eat with their mouths.
That's true. Okay, guys, here's a test. What do you call that? A little time on your hands.
Oh.
Sorry.
I didn't know this was a comedy show, Senator. All right. So we're going to add just a little bit more pasta water just to help bring it together.
That really is beautiful too. All that color.
And it's starting to look nice and creamy. So then we're going to add a little bit of cheese.
Oh yes, cheese.
Parmesan
Oh,
cheese.
Yes.
And that's going to tighten
You
everything
got
up.
3 thumbs up out here with the cheese.
That's going to be the final step to kind of tighten things up.
So is that grated parm?
That is grated Parmesan.
Okay.
Now, it is not Parmigiano Reggiano, which
Well.
is true Italian Parmesan. But we do a fine job making Parmesan cheese here in Wisconsin.
Here in Wisconsin?
Here in the United States, in Wisconsin. Pardon me, I misspoke.
Like, where are you?
So,
That's okay.
I'm going to set that aside,
That looks great.
and I'm going to come back to the chicken. So, we're going to take this.
Chef, here's a clean
Chicken.
cutting board for you here.
And I'm going to reserve all these pan drippings here,
Oh yeah.
because that's where some of that fat is cooked off into, and some of the brown bits of chicken. And once again, fat is
Flavor!
flavor.
Sorry,
There you
I got
go.
carried away.
So I've got a little bit of garlic.
Audience participation, my friends.
What I'm
Shout
gonna
them
do-
out if you know them.
What I'm going to do here is I'm going to zest the lemon.
Okay.
I'm just going to get just some of the rind A little bit. This is a microplane. It's a nice handy tool.
I have one of these at home. It's amazing. You can use it for so many different things. It's a great tool.
We want just a little bit of the yellow because that's where all the flavor is. If you start getting down to the white, it's going to be very bitter. So we're just going to zest one lemon. Can you smell that? It smells amazing. Releasing all the oils.
fantastic.
Senator, if you don't mind cutting that in half for me, please.
Sure.
All right. And now that our pan has gotten hot, we're going to add some white wine to deglaze. We're going to get the souks, which
Okay.
are all the drippings.
Yep. Anybody know
Yes.
what deglazing means? I'm sure you've heard it on cooking shows and things. So what is that? Do people know deglazing? There we go. So go ahead, chef. Maybe you can explain a little bit more.
So deglazing, you're going to get all the nice little burnt bits on the bottom, and that's where all the flavor is. That's where your caramelized chicken flavor is. And when you take a hot pan and you add something like some white wine to that, it's going to help pull everything up off the bottom of the pan. And that's going to add a lot of flavor into the dish. This is going to be a really good sauce. So, once again, we're going to go with a little salt and pepper. I'm going to season in layers. And we're going to let this wine reduce by about half its volume.
So that'll thicken, but it also removes the alcohol.
Correct.
So you're left
Yes.
with the flavor of it.
So we're just going to come here, give it a little double check to our pasta. And we're just going to add a little more pasta water just to keep it from drying out while we're waiting for our sauce to finish. So while our wine is reducing, I'm going to go ahead and add the garlic that I reserved to it.
Oh.
And that's going to draw out some garlic flavor to it.
Is that the sliced garlic?
That
you
is
put
the
it-
sliced
okay.
garlic.
Okay. So you put that back in the wine sauce.
A
Nice.
little bit of chili flake just for some of that background heat. And then I have here just a little chicken bouillon just to add a little extra flavor. Normally I would add a little stock, but for home cooking purposes, bouillon is usually readily available in most home
And
kitchens.
it lasts forever in the pantry.
And it does.
So
yeah.
that's a staple that people can keep in their pantry all the time to add flavor to a lot of different dishes. I can chiffonade the basil if you want.
Perfect. Yes,
Okay.
Senator.
I know he was going to demonstrate this, but I think I can show you too. Chiffonade just means if you have like flat leafy things like basil and flatter things like that, you can just stack them together and you roll them up, make a little tube kind of out of it, and then slice the roll.
All right.
So that's chiffonade right there.
Beautiful. So to our sauce, now that it's reducing, I'm going to add a little bit of lemon juice, fresh squeezed,
Okay, he's squeezing it over his hand, his other hand,
catching
to
the
catch the
seeds. I'm going to
So if you
add,
have a cut on your hand, well,
a little bit of the zest, but I'm going to reserve some of it because lemon always really brightens dishes up. So now that our sauce is almost ready, we have our chicken ready, we're going to go back to our pasta. And we're going to just put that back on low heat. And this is where we put a little extra love into our pasta. Just that extra step. We're going to take the rest of the lemon zest and our fresh herbs. I like adding the fresh herbs at the very end. Otherwise, if you add them too early, you're going to lose a lot of that flavor.
Yeah.
And they can tend to get a little bitter. So we're going to add our fresh herbs. We're going to reserve a little bit for garnish so we can get a nice bite of fresh herb flavor from the garden here at the food bank.
and just from limited ingredients list, so long as you're using really fresh things and putting them in at the right times and not cooking them to death, you're going to end up with a dish that tastes like you ordered it in a restaurant for a very, very small cost. I mean, it's pasta and some vegetables and herbs from the garden and chicken.
All right. So we've got a little bit of butter here.
Do you have some plates maybe we can stick them on? Or
We're just gonna go ahead and give this sauce just a little taste before
the color,
we finish
that's
it.
beautiful.
That tastes delicious.
Always taste your food too. Always taste it. How do you know if it's got enough things in it or too much?
So I'm gonna pull this off of the heat, and I'm gonna go ahead and add the butter.
Yes.
And swirl it in.
Yes.
And don't be shy on the butter.
Never be shy.
That's gonna be the star of this sauce.
Oh, that looks wonderful.
And we're just gonna swirl this in. And that color, that comes from all of the caramelization on the pan, from all the drippings.
That is wonderful.
And we're gonna swirl in the butter so it doesn't break. If you put it on the heat, what would happen is all the solids and the milk fats would separate.
Oh, so by adding the butter, it doesn't do that. It
By
doesn't
adding it cold and whisking it in slowly,
okay.
yes. So now we've got
Nice.
this nice rich sauce here that I think is going to go great with our dish.
Fantastic.
So, would you like to taste it, Senator?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Seal of approval?
You better believe it. I got a great big chunk of garlic in there too. Yes.
There you go. That's what you want.
No vampires around me tonight. Oh yeah.
So, what we'll do now is we can come over here and we can begin to plate. I'm going to
Okay.
use the board for a moment.
There we go. This is so pretty.
It's this nice, colorful pasta. Gonna make sure we get a little bit of everything in there. I'll set this aside.
We need some more plates, and we have a few more.
Oh, I have more plates,
you
so
got
I'll
them
get
back
that
here?
together, yeah.
I'll get them. I'll get them.
Okay, there's, in the orange crate, there
Got
are
it.
forks and plates there.
Perfect. Thank you.
So we're gonna go ahead and slice the chicken on a biased. And that just pretty much means on an angle. And that's gonna help
Sorry
keep
about
it
the
a
noise there.
little more tender. I'm gonna do nice thin slices. And I'm just gonna pick it up at the bottom of the pan, throw a few pieces on there.
Maybe we can even put
Good.
one little piece of.
Certainly.
No. Go ahead.
all
Finish your plate.
So we're gonna come over with, where's my spoon? Our pan sauce. Make sure we get a little chunk of garlic in there too.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and just put that right over the chicken. And that's gonna keep it nice and moist.
We're supposed to do it all.
Ooh.
Ooh, there you are.
Ah.
And then we're gonna come through with some of our fresh herbs, a little fresh basil.
Look how nice that is.
It was a beautiful chiffonade, Senator, thank you.
Yes.
And a little fresh parsley. And then I'm going to take a little bit of raw celery and kind of just put it throughout, just to give it a little crunch. And then we're going to finish with more cheese.
Yes. Yes.
A little bit of cheese and a little drizzle of some olive oil.
Oh, you can't beat that. I love drizzling olive oil on the top of a dish. It's phenomenal. Wow. All right.
And there you are.
Fantastic. Wow, thank you. That is beautiful.
That flavor on there.
Oh, it's fantastic. Okay. Ta-da.
Thank you, Senator. Yummy.
Sure.
Olive oil we used.
Alrighty. Okay, I'm not going to forget the sauce this time. Couple of steps here. A little cheese. Ooh. A little chicken. Bravo. Not sure. Yeah. A little bit of parsley.
Done? All right, thank you.
And sauce. So didn't that seem simple to make? Okay.
He made it look simple.
Yeah. It's just slicing.
Thank you.
So who's planning on making this dish soon? There we go. My whole staff. Peg's making it tomorrow night. That's
I can
fine.
bring you and Chad into my kitchen. That's a good idea. It smells wonderful.
I can't thank you enough, Chad, for taking your time. And
Thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.
Yeah, and being here at the food pantry and just demonstrating for everybody here what they can learn right here at the food pantry. First Tuesday of every month, am I right, Jody? Second Tuesday of every month, right here at the food pantry. And also for all of our viewers out there, thanks so much for joining me. I always like to highlight something that's really extra special in the 46th district, and this is really extra special, what they do for all of their clients, for everyone in the community. And we're gonna put the website up and a link for you on my social media and on my website. So you might, you know, if you think about it, donate to the food pantry. They could really use your help because they help so many others. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you next time on Focus on the 46th.